The rifle cracked like thunder, shattering the still Montana air, and I felt the hot graze of the bullet whip past my ear before I even hit the dirt. "Get down, you fool!" George's voice roared over the echo, rough as gravel and laced with something fiercer than fear. Possession, maybe, or the kind of rage that comes from loving too hard. In that split second, as the echo died and my heart hammered against the cold earth, I realized the ranch I'd fled to for salvation had just become my grave. I never meant to end up in big sky country, chasing ghosts in the form of low wages and open skies. Back in Seattle, the city lights had choked me. Endless nights in dive bars, nursing beers and stolen glances with guys who vanished by dawn, their touches as fleeting as the rain. My name's Timothy Hale, 28, with a backpack full of regrets and a resume that screamed, unreliable, a bar fight gone wrong, a boyfriend who turned out to be more ghost than man, and suddenly I was thumbing rides east, landing in the dusty sprawl of the double-bar ranch outside Billings. It was supposed to be simple. Mend fences, bale hay, forget the ache in my chest that no amount of running could shake. The foreman who hired me over a crackling phone line had a voice like smoked whiskey, deep, unhurried, with that drawl that wrapped around your bones. "We got room for a strong back," he'd said. "Just don't go stirring up trouble." I pictured some grizzled vet, all mustache and no nonsense. But when I stepped off the Greyhound into the choking heat of a July afternoon, George Harlan was waiting in a battered Ford pickup, his silhouette cutting sharp against the endless blue. He was 42, built like the mountains that ringed the valley, broad shoulders under a faded flannel shirt, jeans worn to the sheen of old leather, and boots caked with the kind of red dirt that stains your soul. His face was a map of hard lines, jaw squared like it was carved from oak, eyes the color of storm clouds, and a scar hooking down his left cheek like a question mark. He didn't smile when he shook my hand. His grip was iron, calluses scraping mine like sandpaper. "Timothy Hale," he rumbled, sizing me up with a glance that lingered a beat too long on my mouth. "City boy. Hope you ain't allergic to sweat." I wasn't. But from that first drag of his cigarette, the way the smoke curled lazy from his lips, I knew sweat wasn't the only thing that'd test me here. The bunkhouse was a long, low affair of weathered pine, smelling of pine tar and unwashed men. 6 bunks, 4 occupied by the usual suspects. Javier, the wiry Mexican hand who sang corridos at dawn. Buck, a barrel-chested vet with a laugh like a shotgun blast. And Lyle, the kid from Idaho who blushed at his own shadow. They nodded at me over plates of beans and cornbread that first night, trading stories of stampedes and bar brawls. George ate alone at the head of the scarred oak table, his fork scraping deliberate, ice flicking my way every few bites. "Foremen don't fraternize," Javier whispered later, as we bunked down under the tin roof that rattled with summer wind. "But he watches. Like a hawk." I laughed it off, stripping to my boxers in the humid dark, the sheets rough against my skin. But sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with that grip, that scar, the way his thumb had brushed my knuckle accidental-like. Morning broke brutal, 4 a.m. Reveille, coffee black as sin, and George barking orders like a drill sergeant. "Hale, fence line north pasture. Move like you mean it." The work was endless, biblical in its punishment. Hauling posts under a sun that boiled the earth. My hands blistered raw by noon. George rode fence with me that first week, his horse a black gelding named Shadow that matched his mood. He'd point out weak spots with a gloved hand, his voice low and patient, but there was an undercurrent, a tension that hummed like barbed wire. "You got good eyes," he'd say, catching me staring at the horizon. Or, "Hold it steady, Tim." Like this, his body close then, heat radiating through denim, the scent of him, hay, horse, and something darker, like earth after rain. By Friday, the ache in my muscles was a dull roar, but the one in my gut was worse. We were mending a break near the creek, sweat stinging my eyes, when a rattlesnake uncoiled from the grass like a promise of hell. I froze, boot inches from its fangs, heart slamming. George was off his horse in a blur, boot stomping the head flat with a wet crunch. "Jesus! Hail!" he growled, yanking me back by the collar, his breath hot on my neck. "You trying to get yourself killed?" Our eyes locked, inches apart, and time stretched thin. His pupils blew wide, dark as midnight, and for a heartbeat, I swear he leaned in, lips parting like he might taste the fear on me. Then he shoved me away, hard, stalking back to his horse. "Watch your damn step." That night, in the bunkhouse, the air felt thicker. The others crashed early, snores rattling like freight trains, but I lay awake, tracing the ceiling beams, replaying that moment. The door creaked open around midnight, a sliver of moonlight slicing the floor. George slipped in, shirtless, jeans slung low on his hips, a bottle of bourbon dangling from his fingers. He didn't speak, just jerked his chin toward the door. I followed, barefoot into the cool night, the ranch a silvered ghost under the stars. We ended up by the corral, leaning on the rails, passing the bottle in silence. The bourbon burned sweet, loosening the knots. "Why here?" he asked finally, voice a rumble in the dark. "What chases a pretty boy like you to the sticks, pretty?" The word hung, loaded. I took a swig, the fire spreading. Needed to breathe. Cities full of complications, he snorted, eyes on the horizon where coyotes yipped. Complications. That's one way to say it. His shoulder brushed mine, deliberate now, and electricity arced. I turned, and there it was, that hunger, raw and unfiltered, mirroring the storm in my chest. Our mouths crashed together like we'd both been starving, his beard scraping my jaw, hands fisting my shirt as he hauled me closer. It was messy, desperate, teeth and tongues and the salt of sweat, his growl vibrating through me as he pinned me to the rail. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, breaths mingling. "This ain't smart," he muttered, but his thumb traced my lip, gentle now, like he was memorizing it. "Since when do we do smart?" I whispered, and pulled him back in. It became our ritual. Stolen nights under the big sky, bodies tangled in the hayloft or against the tackroom wall, the ranch sleeping oblivious. George was a force, rough hands mapping my skin like uncharted land, whispers of mine against my throat that made my knees buckle. But dawn always came, and with it, the mask, curt nods over breakfast, orders barked sharp to keep the others from suspecting. In a place like this, where Bibles thumped louder than hearts, we were a secret carved in shadow. Fall crept in slow, painting the aspens gold, and with it, doubts. George's touches grew fiercer, laced with a desperation that clawed at me. One night, after he'd taken me slow and deep on a bedroll by the fire pit, stars wheeling overhead. He traced the bruises his fingers left on my hips. You deserve better than this, Tim. Sneaking around like thieves. I propped on an elbow. His hair tousled against the wool. This is what we've got. It's enough. But it wasn't. Not when Javier shot me sidelong looks. Or when Buck slapped George's back at supper and called him brother, with that easy affection that twisted something in my gut. George had history here, 20 years on the double bar. Widowed young when his wife took off for California Lights. Or so the whispers went. No kids. No ties. Just the land and the lie he wore like a second skin. The first crack came mid-October. A storm rolling in off the Rockies. Wind howling like banshees. We were branding calves in the north field. The air thick with smoke and lowing panic. Lal botched a rope. The iron slipping. Searing flesh wrong. The calf bellowed. And in the chaos, George lost it. Shoving the kid hard. Face twisted in fury. You blind. Boy, that's how you lose the herd. Lal crumpled. Eyes wet. And I stepped in without thinking. Ease up, George. It was an accident. His head snapped to me. Ice feral. Stay in your lane. Hail. The words landed like a slap. The crew falling silent. Javier crossed himself. Buck cleared his throat. That night, no knock on the bunkhouse door. I waited till the moon crested, then slipped out to the foreman's cabin, a squat log affair at the ranch's edge, lantern light flickering like a heartbeat. He answered shirtless, bourbon on his breath, scar livid in the glow. What? You tell me. I pushed past, the door banging shut. What the hell was that? He poured another tumbler, knuckles white. Kids green. Can't afford mistakes come winter. Bullshit. I grabbed his arm, felt the tremor. You're unraveling. Talk to me. His laugh was bitter, shattered glass. He yanked free, pacing the worn floorboards. You think this is easy? Hiding us like some dirty secret? My pa built this ranch on sweat and straight-laced lies. He died hatin' anything that didn't fit his Bible-thumpin' mold. And me. Christ. Tim. I buried it deep. For the job. For the life. I stepped close, cupping his face, thumb over that scar. Then unbury it. With me. His eyes searched mine, wild and wounded. And for a moment, I thought he'd break, spill the poison that's been festering. Instead, he kissed me fierce, backing me against the wall, hands urgent as if tomorrow might steal me away. We made love there on the rug by the hearth, slow and shattering, his body a confession in every thrust, every gasp of my name. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled of him, he murmured against my hair, I love you. You know that? First time saying it sober. My heart cracked open, billing light. Love you too, cowboy, but love's a fragile thing in the wind, and winter was coming. November bit hard, frosting the fields white overnight, turning the double bar into a frozen kingdom. Calving season loomed like a specter, and the days blurred into a grind. Dawn patrols for strays, mucking stalls till your fingers pruned, nights huddled by the potbelly stove trading flasks and tall tales. George and I carved out pockets of warmth. His cabin became our haven, where he'd thaw in my arms, shedding the foreman's armor. He'd talk then, halting at first, stories of a boyhood chasing Mustangs, a mother gone too soon to cancer, the wife who'd fled when his touches strayed to the stable hand one drunken fair night. Called me a sinner, he'd say, voice hollow, staring into the fire. Took half the herd's worth in alimony and vanished. Left me with nothing but echoes. I pull him close, lips to his temple. You're whole with me. It was true, in those stolen hours. He'd laugh rare, rumbling thunder, and cook breakfasts of eggs and biscuits, his hands steady as he flipped them in the iron skillet. We'd ride out together under guise of inventory, veering off-trail to a hidden draw where aspens arched like cathedral vaults. There, under blankets of snow-dusted leaves, we'd lose ourselves, my back against bark, his mouth mapping the line of my throat, breaths clouding the air as he whispered filth and poetry in equal measure. You're my salvation, Tim. My goddamn North Star, but secrets fester in the cold. Lal started shadowing me, questions burning in his eyes. Innocent, but probing. You and the boss. Tight. Huh? He don't warm to folks easy. Javier's songs turned wry, laced with double meanings about forbidden rivers. And Buck, bless his oblivious heart, clapped my shoulder one frosty morn. You're fittin' in, city boy. George's got a soft spot, I reckon. George noticed, tension coiling like a spring. Orders sharpened, touches in passing turned to bruises. One evening, after a brutal day wrestling iced gates, I found him in the barn, currying shadow with strokes too violent. They're sniffin', he muttered, not looking up. Gotta cool it, my gut twisted. For how long? Till spring. Maybe. When the crew thins, he set the brush down, pulling me into the shadows, kiss hard and apologetic. Can't lose this place. It's all I got left. I swallowed the protest, nodding into his neck. But doubt seeded, a slow poison. The storm hit mid-month, a blizzard straight from Hell's Forge. Winds screaming 60 knots, visibility nil, snow piling drifts to the eaves. We hunkered, rations tight, the bunkhouse a pressure cooker of cabin fever. Cards turned to arguments, Javier's guitar to dirges. George patrolled anyway, vanishing into wideouts on shadow, returning blue-lipped and frostbit. Fool, I'd hiss, rubbing life back into his hands by the stove, the others oblivious in their bunks. One night, crested. Power flickered out, plunging us to candlelight, and the crew scattered to bed early. George dragged me to his cabin through howling dark, the path a memory of steps. Inside, the fire roared, but he paced like a caged wolf, bourbon sloshing. Can't shake it, he growled. Feelin' eyes everywhere. I blocked his path, hands on his chest, heart rabbiting under my palms. It's paranoia. We're careful. His laugh barked sharp. Careful? I'm burnin' up inside. Tim. Every look from you, every brush, it's a goddamn risk. He grabbed my wrists, eyes fever bright. What if they find out? Buck's got a sister in town. Church-goin' type. Javier's got family cross the border waitin' on remittances. One word, and it all crumbles. Then we fight, I said, fierce. Together, he deflated, pulling me down to the bearskin before the hearth. Love that night was a storm of its own, urgent, devouring, his body claiming mine with a desperation that bordered on violence. He marked me, teeth on collarbone, nails raking back, and I gave as good, whispering, I got you, till he shattered, sobbing my name into the crook of my neck. Dawn broke clear, the world scoured pristine, And with it came the call. Strays pinned in the upper canyon. Calves bleeding peril. George rallied us. Voice steel. Hail. With me. Rest. Fan out east. The ride was suicide, trails ice slick. Wind a knife. Shadow slipped once. George's curse swallowed by gusts. But we crested the rim as visibility cleared to ghosts. There. A cluster of cows wedged in a drift. Lowing piteous. We roped them one by one. Muscles screaming. Till the last. A bull calf. Half buried. Eyes rolling wild. George dismounted. Looping line. But the ledge crumbled underfoot. Snowpack giving way like sugar. He slid. Boot snagging a root. Body dangling over the drop. Canyon yawning black below. Tim. My name tore from him. Raw terror. I lunged. Flat to belly. Grabbing his wrist as the rope frayed. Our eyes met, his wide. Mine burning, and in that void. Everything stripped bare. Love. Fear. The fragile thread we'd spun. Hold on. I gasped. Hauling with all I had. Veins popping. World narrowing to his grip. The crew crested then. Shouts echoing. Ropes thrown. We pulled him up inch by agonizing inch. Collapsing in a heap as the sun pierced clouds. George clung to me after. Hidden in the crush of backslaps. His whisper fierce. Owe you my life. Darlin', but debts demand payment. Winter deepened. Holidays a farce. A skeletal tree in the mess hall. Canned turkey and George's forced grin. I called home. Ma in Seattle. Voice tinny over the line. Come back, Timmy. City's cold without you. But George's hand found mine under the table that night. Squeezing till it hurt. Stay, he breathed. Build this with me. I did. Weaving dreams aloud. Buy out old man Harlan's shares. Turn the double bar green solar pumps. Ecotourism for city queers seeking stars. He'd listen. I soft. Tracing patterns on my thigh. Yeah. Us against the world. Then betrayal slithered in. Sly as a snake in spring grass. It started with letters, yellowed envelopes in George's desk. Unearthed when I mended a busted drawer. I wasn't prying. Curiosity's a thief. Postmarked L.A. Scrawled in feminine loops. George, it's time. The boys asking questions. Come home. The wife. Elena. Not fled, but waiting. 20 years of silence shattered by a son. Now 18. Demanding his father. George's son. Blood calling blood. I confronted him that night. Envelope clutched like evidence. The cabin reeked of whiskey already. Fire low. Who is he? George froze mid-pour. Face ashen. Tim. Don't. Tell me. Voice cracked. But I held. You got a kid? All this time. Playing house with me. And you. He's not. He slammed the glass. Amber spilling. Elena lied. Said she was leavin' for good. No strings. I let her go. Buried it. Then this. He snatched the letter. Crumpling it. Kid's mine. Yeah. But I ain't fit. Not for that life. Rage boiled. Hot and blinding. You lied to me. Every I love you. Every promise. This ranch. Our future. It was all built on bullshit. No. He lunged. Grabbing my arms. Eyes wild. I was gonna tell you. After calving. Find a way. A way. I shoved free. Chest heaving. You're straight-laced when it suits. George. Foreman by day, ghost daddy by mail. What am I? Your side hustle till the real world's calls. His face crumpled, scar twisting. You're everything. This place. You. It's what kept me breathing. He reached, but I backed away, the door cold at my spine. Then choose. The words hung, ultimatum sharp. Silence stretched, broken only by the fire's pop. Then, soft, I can't lose him. Not again. The door slammed behind me, night swallowing my sobs. Betrayal tasted like ash, and the stars mocked me, cold witnesses. Spring thawed the ground slow, mud sucking at boots like regret. But inside me, winter lingered, a frost that numbed the days. I threw myself into work, volunteering for the farthest patrols, anything to avoid George's eyes. He tried at first. Notes slipped into my bunk. Talk to me, please. Glances across the branding fire that burned hotter than irons. But I iced him out. Words clipped to yes, sir. Touches dodged like rattlesnakes. The crew felt the rift, tension crackling unspoken. Javier cornered me one dawn, rolling smokes by the cookshack. Amigos con problemas? His grin was sly, but eyes sharp. Boss man looks like he lost his best dog. Nothing, I muttered, lighting up, the smoke a veil. But lies weigh heavy, and mine bowed my shoulders. Elena wrote again, or so I overheard, George on the satellite phone in his cabin, voice low and frayed. I need time, Lena. He's complicated. Me. The word festered, turning love to loathing. Yet hate's a thin line from hunger, and mine blurred nightly. I'd wake sweat-drenched, body aching for his weight, his growl. The ranch conspired, a busted pump in the east well, forcing us side by side under a relentless April sun. Wrenches clanked, curses flew, but proximity was torture, his arm brushing mine, sending sparks I couldn't douse. Tim, he said finally, wiping grease from his brow, voice rough. We gotta. No, I straightened, heart pounding. You made your choice. His jaw ticked, eyes storm dark. It ain't that simple. The boy's comin' for a visit. Summer. Wants to see the land. Meet his old man. Jealousy spiked. Irrational and green. Great. Family reunion. I'll bake a pie. Damn it. He grabbed my elbow, pulling me behind the shed. Out of sight. This ain't over. I love. Don't. I yanked free, but he crowded close. He'd a wall. Our breaths synced, ragged, and damn me, I leaned in, lips brushing accidental, then not. The kiss ignited dry tinder, hands fisting shirts, body slamming wood, a frenzy of need and spite. He tasted like salt and sorrow, thrusting against me till we both broke, gasping curses into necks. After, shame crashed. I shoved him away, zipping frantic. This changes nothing. His eyes shuddered, hurt flashing raw. Yeah, it does. I fled to the bunkhouse, shower scalding the evidence. But the mark lingered, bruise blooming on my hip like a secret bloom. May brought green fire to the hills, wildflowers rioting purple and gold, and with them, the crew's annual rodeo trip to Billings. Booze flowed, dust churned under hooves, and for one night, I drowned the ache in cheap whiskey and a stranger's anonymous grind in the fairground shadows. But the cowboy's touch was wrong, too soft, too eager, and I pushed him off, retching into the dirt. George found me there, slumped against the truck, the revelry fading distant. Jesus, Tim, he hauled me up, steady despite the beer on his breath. No anger, just quiet fury, at himself, maybe. We drove back in silence, stars blurring through tears I wouldn't shed. The cabin door closed soft that night, his hands gentle unbuttoning me. "Let me fix this," he murmured, kissing the whiskey from my tongue. We made love like atonement, slow, reverent, his fingers interlacing mine as he moved inside, eyes locked, whispering truths. "You're my home. The boy's blood, but you. Your heart." It clung, believing for a dawn-lit hour. But seeds sown deep don't uproot easy. June scorched, heat waves shimmering, and the letters piled, photos now. A lanky kid with George's jaw and Elena's eyes, grinning from a SoCal beach. "Your brother," Javier joked once, slapping the stack on the table. George snatched them, face tight, but I saw the crack, the pull of what-ifs. He started pulling away, excuses piling, late nights poring over ledgers, dawn rides alone. Touches turned chaste, kisses rationed. "Gotta get my head straight," he'd say, avoiding my gaze. Loneliness echoed, hollow as the bunkhouse at siesta. The breaking came on the solstice, full moon fat and silver. A mare-fold breach, crisis pulling us to the barn at midnight. We worked in tandem, George's hands steady in the slick dark, my voice soothing the dam as we turned the colt. Success came bloody and triumphant, the foal staggering to legs under lantern glow. Exhaustion bonded us then, leaning on hay bales, blood-streaked and alive. "We make a hell of a team," he said, head on my shoulder. "Yeah." My hand found his thigh, tracing old paths. Heat flared, inevitable, and we tumbled into the straw, bodies familiar as breath. But midway, he stilled, froze, actually eyes distant. "Wait," I propped up, gut sinking. "What?" He sat, jeans half undone, running hands through hair. "Elena's comin' too. With the boy. Next week. To talk." The world tilted. "Talk? About what? Playing happy family." "No. About sellin' her share. And custody." His voice cracked. "Kid wants to stay summers. Here." Rage surged, hot and volcanic. "And you? What's your play, George?" "Rancher dad with a side of sin." "Stop." He stood, buckling belt with shaking hands. "It's business. The boy's got rights." "Fuck your rights." I surged up, shoving him once, twice till he staggered. "You string me along, make me believe in us, then yank the rug? I'm done bein' your dirty little escape." His face hardened, scar blanching. "You think this is easy? Rip out my guts every damn day. Then don't." Tears burned. Traitorous. "Choose me." All in. Silence again. That killer quiet. Moonlight slanted through slats, gilding him tragic. "I can't," he whispered. "Not like this. Not and keep the ranch. Keep everything." The slap echoed, my palm cracking his cheek, red blooming under stubble. "Everything but me." I stormed out, night air a slap, running blind till lungs burned. Collapsed by the creek, water chuckling mocking, I howled raw, animal till voice gave out. Dawn found me there, shivering, resolve hardening like frost. Betrayal's blade cuts deep, but survival's a sharper edge. July 4th dawned blistering, fireworks already popping distant like gunfire. But on the double bar, celebrations were muted, a barbecue in the south pasture, flags limp in the heat. Elena and the boy arrived mid-morning, dust cloud heralding their rental SUV, a sleek contrast to our mud-splattered rigs. I watched from the corral, forking hay, as George strode out, clean-shaven, button-down crisp, a stranger in his own skin. She was striking, mid-40s, sun-kissed California with laugh lines and curves hugged by sundress, hair a cascade of caramel waves. Stepping from the car, she hugged George tentative, then pulled back, eyes searching. "You look good, Harlan." Ranch agrees. The boy Ethan, 18 in all limbs, hung back, duffel slung, appraising the spread with wary awe. He had George's build budding, that same storm cloud gaze, but softened by youth and beach tan. "Dad," he said, voice cracking on the word, and George's nod was gruff, hand clapping shoulder awkward. "Welcome home, son, home." The knife twisted. I kept distance, volunteering for fence checks, but echoes carried. Laughter at lunch. Ethan's questions tumbling. "You really break broncs?" George's rumble answering patient. Elena's voice, melodic. He always was stubborn. Like his father, stubborn. Yeah. By evening, the crew gathered, Javier grilling ribs, Buck cracking beers, Lal shy with fireworks. I hovered periphery, nursing a cores, when Ethan wandered over, sparkler fizzling in hand. "You're Tim, right? The city guy." "Dad says you know Seattle." I forced a smile, the kid's earnestness disarming. "Born and raised. Rainy as hell. Cool. Beaches here suck." He grinned, gap-toothed, and something in me softened, innocence unscarred. "You teach him to rope?" "Nah. He's the master." Bitter pill, but truth. George caught my eye then, across the fire pit flames, plea in his gaze. I looked away, gut churning. Night deepened, booms shaking stars, and the visitors retired to the guest cabin, repurposed tack room, fresh painted for the occasion. I slipped away early, bunk a tomb, but sleep evaded. Around 2, the bunkhouse door creaked, George, shadow silent, perching on my mattress edge. "Go away," I muttered, back turned. "Can't." His hand ghosted my shoulder. "Talked to Elena. It's over, paper signed. She gets her cut. I keep the land. Ethan Summers, if he wants." Relief flickered, snuffed quick. "And us," he sighed, heavy. "Workin' on it." Told her. About me. The real me. My head snapped around. "You what?" Ethan too. Blunt. "Your old man's queer as a $3 bill." His chuckle was watery. She laughed. Said she knew, back then. Why she left. Stunned silence. "And they're okay." Kid hugged me, awkward as hell. Said, "Whatever, Dad. Just don't be a dick about it." Tears glistened in firelight filtering through cracks. "I been blind, Tim. Hidin' from shadows that weren't there." Hope bloomed, tentative. So? He leaned, kiss soft, exploratory like first time. "I'm all in." If you'll have me. I pulled him down. Blankets tangling. Bodies aligning familiar. Love that night was rebirth. Gentle thrusts. Shared breaths. His scar nuzzling my palm as he came undone. Forgive me, he whispered after, tracing my ribs. Not yet, I teased, but heart mended, stitch by stitch. Summer peaked brutal, but revelations sweetened it. Ethan stayed 2 weeks, trailing George like a pup, learning knots, mending wire, his laughter echoing canyons. He cornered me one afternoon by the creek, skipping stones. You love him? Ha, blunt kid. I nodded, stone plunking flat. Yeah, cool. He needs that. Grin flashed. Mom said he's softer now. You're doing. Pride swelled. Unspoken bond forming. Evenings, the 3 of us sat porches, George spinning yarns, Ethan devouring, me bridging with city tales. Elena visited once more, wine in hand, pulling me aside. Thank you for seeing him whole. The crew caught on gradual. Javier's wink over breakfast. Buck's about damn time grunt when he stumbled on us kissing by the barn. No pitchforks. No sermons, just nods. Acceptance hard won in these hills. But climax brews in calm. And August stormed. It started with rustlers. Shadowy figures hitting spreads up valley. Cattle vanishing under moonless skies. Talk turned vigilant. Shotguns cleaned. Watches doubled. George hardened. Patrols lengthening. His cabin empty nights. One eclipse black evening. Reports hit. Double bar hit. 50 head gone from the south graze. Fury lit him, face thunder. Barking orders like a general. Hail. Buck with me. Track him. We rode hard. Moon a sliver. Hoofbeats drumming dread. Trail led to an abandoned line shack. Trucks idling ghosts. George signaled halt. Dismounting silent. Rifle cocked. Stay, he mouthed. But I followed. Pulse roaring. Inside 3 men. Roughnecks from the res. Divvying brands with bolt cutters. George's roar shattered quiet. Hands up. Sansa bitches. Chaos erupted, chairs scraping. A gun flashing. Buck fired wide. Warning. But one rustler lunged. Tackling George to planks. Fists flew. Grunts echoing. And I dove in, yanking the attacker off. Boot to ribs. The man swung wild. Knuckles cracking my jaw. Stars bursting. George surged up. Rifle but cracking skull. Dropping him cold. The others surrendered. Zip-tied hasty. But as Buck radioed sheriff, George turned to me. Face bloodied. Eyes feral. You okay? Yeah. But then the crack. Not thunder, but rifle sharp. From shadows outside. The bullet whined past. Splintering doorframe. And George shoved me down. Body covering. Stay down. Second shot thudding meaty. He jerked. Grunt pained. Blood blooming dark on his side. George! I screamed. Rolling him gentle. Hands pressing the seep. His face paled. Scar ashen. But eyes locked mine. Love. Fierce. Get. The bastard. I scrambled. Rifle snatched. Bursting into night. The shooter, straggler. Panicked, fumbled reload by his truck. I fired low. Grazing leg. He crumpled. Howling. Buck secured him. Sirens wailing distant. But world narrowed to George. My George, slumped against wall. Breath shallow. Ambulance. I barked into radio, voice breaking. Foreman down. Gunshot. He gripped my hand, slick with his blood. Tim. Love. Shoo. You're fine. Hold on. But fear clawed. Primal. The medevac chopper thumped in like salvation, blades whipping dust devils. They loaded him, Elena and Ethan arriving frantic, her tears, his wide eyes, but I rode shotgun, holding his hand as we lifted, valley shrinking below. Billings General was a blur, or lights harsh, surgeons murmuring, hours bleeding endless in vinyl chairs. Dawn crept, and the doc emerged, through and through. Nicked a rib, but he's stable. Lucky. Relief buckled me, sobs racking silent. Ethan clapped my back. Awkward. Tough old man. Yeah. I choked. He is. Recovery was slow. Cabin turned sickroom. Me nursing broths and bandages. Ethan's visits bridging generations. George mended. Scar gaining a twin. But spirit unbroken. Oh, you again. He rasped first night home, pulling me to bed gentle. We square, I whispered, kissing the new mark. But wounds scar, and rustlers drag trials, testimony in Butte, whispers of George's lifestyle slithering in. Defense leaned hard. Hero foreman, family man, family. Now Ethan calling weekends, Elena emailing recipes. The town murmured, but the ranch held, crew loyal. September gilded edges, and with it, reckoning. George stood porch one dusk, cane tapping, watching shadow graze. Sold a section, he said. To the conservatory. Funds for solar. Like you dreamed. I joined him, arm round waist. Our future. His kiss was sunset warm. Damn right. Yet undercurrents stirred old ghosts, new shadows. Ethan's letters turned pensive. Mom's dating. Thinks I should meet him. George's jaw tightened. Unspoken fears. And me? The city tugged. Faint. A job offer from Seattle. Urban escape. But roots dug deep here. In this man. This land. Climax loomed. Not in bullets. But choices. October wove tapestries of crimson and rust. Winds whispering secrets through skeletal aspens. And the double bar settled into harvest hush. Calves weaned fat. Silos brimmed. And George shed his cane. Stride reclaiming swagger. Our love deepened roots. Mornings tangled lazy. His coffee breath mingling mine. Evenings on the porch swing he'd built. Stars pricking velvet. Hands linked casual as breathing. Ethan visited for homecoming. Awkward in chaps but beaming. Helping brand his first steer. You're good at this, Dad, he said. And George's grin cracked sun. Pride swelled in me. Vicarious, watching father and son mend fences literal and not. Elena called Sundays. Her laugh a bridge. Telt him thanks for the quilt pattern. Ethan's hooked. Family. Patchwork but whole. But autumn's rot creeps sly. And conflict brewed in ink. The conservancy deal soured. Buyers balking at complications. Town gossip. Rustler trial dredging George's past. They smell queer. He spat one night over stew. Fork stabbing cabbage. Like blood in water, I squeezed his knee under table. We'll fight. Yeah. But eyes shadowed. Doubt's old friend. November chilled early. First snow dusting peaks. And the hook yanked taut. My ma. Voice frail over crackly line. Cancer. Timmy. Stage 3. Come home. World grade. Gut hollowing. Seattle, Ma's apartment. Rain-lashed windows. Her frail hand in mine. I booked the flight mechanical, but telling George shattered me. Kitchen dim. Stew cooling. His face drained life. How long? Months. Maybe. Tears tracked hot. I gotta go. He pulled me close. Beard damp against my temple. We'll manage. Drive up weekends. I love, but love's no match for death's pull. I left at dawn. His kiss lingering like frost. The ranch shrinking rear view to a smudge. Seattle swallowed me. Hospital sterile as lies. Ma's chemo-sapping color. Her stories looping. You were always the dreamer, baby. Find your heart's home. I did. In stolen hours, driving 500 miles round trip. Crashing in Motel 9s. Making love frantic in his cabin. Bodies clinging against time's thief. Winter gripped. Passes icing shut. Visits dwindling to phone whispers. Miss you, darlin'. Miss your hands. Ethan sensed. Emails tentative. Dad's quiet. Fix it. Guilt gnawed. A rat in ribs. Ma rallied brief, holidays home. Tree twinkling feeble but weakened fast. January a blur of beeps and morphine. George drove up once. Boots thumping linoleum. Holding her hand gentle. Strong lady you got. Tim. She winked. Whispering. He's a keeper. Don't fuck it. February stole her midnight. Quiet as snow. Leaving me adrift in echoes. Funeral rained relentless. Black umbrellas bobbing graveside. And George stood sentinel arm round me. Solid as oaks. I'm here, he murmured. And in the hotel after. We mourned raw. Bodies slamming desperate. Sobs mingling. His I got you mantra against my cries. Spring green tentative. But grief rooted deep. Turning me hollow. Nights staring ceilings. Days adrift. Back at the ranch April fresh. Work a bomb but bandaged. George tried. Dates in Billings diners. Dances at the roadhouse where eyes followed curious. Not cruel. We're out, he'd say. Chin lifted. Proud, but pride frays under pressure. The deal collapsed full. Buyers citing instability. Whispers of that foreman and his boy poisoning wells. George hardened. Selling off gear piecemeal. Eyes distant. Gotta downsize. For Ethan. For Ethan. The wedge widened. Boy now college-bound. Summers promised but tensions simmering. Elena's new man family. George's lifestyle, a topic skirted. Climax crested Memorial Day. Heat wave baking dust. Crew picnic a farce. Ethan arrived tanned and brooding. Fresh from LA. Drama. Mom's engaged. Wants me to call him dad. Voice cracked. Eyes on George pleading. George's jaw clenched. Beer bottle sweating. You're my blood, son. Always. But. Ethan glanced my way. Hesitant. This you and Tim. Weird. Air thickened. Picnic chatter dying. George's face blanched. Scar livid. Weird? That's what this is. I stepped in. Heart pounding. Kid. Love's not weird. It's life. Ethan flushed. Standing abrupt. Easy for you. You're not the one explainin' to friends why you're old man's. He trailed. Storming to the truck. George followed. Argument muffled but vicious, voices rising. You ashamed. It's complicated. Ending in slammed doors. Dust plume south. He returned hollowed, collapsing porch steps, head in hands. Lost him. Like I lost everything. No, I knelt, cupping face. He's scared. Like you were. Eyes met. Broken glass. What if I can't fix this? The ranch. Us. It's slippened up. Then we rebuild. Kiss fierce. Salt tanged. Together. But together phrase when one pulls. June scorched secrets. George vanishing nights. Returning reeking smoke and lies. Check-in fences. He'd mutter. But eyes evaded. Suspicion festered. Old wound reopening. One dawn. I tailed him. Pickup bumping old trails to the line shack. Rustler's haunt. Heart sank as Elena's SUV gleamed there. Her silhouette in window. Betrayal. Round two sharper. Poisoned. I burst in. Door banging. Finding them on cots. Not naked. But close, her head on his shoulder. Hands clasped. Tears tracking. Tim! George startled. Surging up. It ain't. Elena's voice steady. He's hurting. Ethan's cutting him off. Blames. Us. Us. Rage blinded. You two playing house again? After everything. No. George grabbed my arms. Desperate. Talkin'. Only. Trying to salvage for the kid. I wrenched free. Laughing bitter. Salvage. Like I'm disposable. Tim. Please. The slap landed same cheek. Welt rising. Fuck your salvage. I'm out. I fled to the bunkhouse. Packing frantic. Backpack stuffed. Truck keys jangling. Javier blocked door. I said, Hermano. Wait. Can't. Voice broke. It's poison. George pounded after. Filling the frame. Don't. I love you. This life's you. Tires spun gravel as I peeled out. Rear view his silhouette shrinking. Alone. As always. Billings blurred. Greyhound ticket bought blind. Seattle calling like a siren's dirge. Months ghosted. City grind. Bar shifts numbing ache. Hookups hollow as echoes. Letters came, George's scrawl. Come back. Fixed it. Ethan's comin' round. Elena's. He waits. Like I did. Once. Autumn waned to winter's cusp. Snow flurrying Seattle streets. When the call hit. Ranch fire. Lightning strike. Barn gutted. He's okay, Javier soothed. But lost the foal. Needs you. Plane hopped. Heart hammering. Landing in Billings frost. The double bar smoldered skeletal. Crew milling ash. George by the ruins, gaunt. Beard unkempt. Eyes hollowed. He saw me. Froze. Tim. No words. I crossed. Pulling him into ash-streaked embrace. His sob breaking against my neck. Forgive. Always, I whispered. But no more secrets. No more. Thou sealed in salt. Under healing sky. Rebuild came collective. Crew hauling beams. Ethan arriving shovel ready. Elena wiring funds. Winters passed. Ranch greening, solar gleaming. Tours drawing city folk to starlit rides. George and I wed quiet. Judge in Billings. Rings plain gold. Ethan walked me down. Grin wide. Fathers now. Ha! Humanities in the mending, scars mapping paths. Love the thread stitching frayed edges. Under Montana's endless. We endure. Two men. One heart. Against the whispering wind.